it is befitting that I leave the game just like I came in. Beating a big bad monster who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him. I'm experienced now, professional. I'm bad. Been chopping trees. I done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. All of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
What is up, YouTube? Live via satellite here, and today we are talking Kingdom, manga chapters 605, 606, and 607. So guys, all I can say, man, is these last few chapters have been excellent, man. And mainly because they're revolving around the people that we've been waiting to see go at it since the beginning of this arc. So honestly guys, I have not been surprised about how hyped these chapters have been since we finally gotten to the main attraction of Ousen versus Roboku. And with two heavy hitters like this going at it, you expect nothing but greatness. But even still, with that ending in chapter 607, Har was able to show us that he can still go far beyond our expectations. Never in a million years would I have thought Ousen would have asked Roboku to team up with him. And never in a trillion years would I have thought that I'd have to actually give props to Heki of all people for actually letting us know at the very beginning of this arc that Ousen may try to pull something shiesty. So we were warned, but somehow we still didn't see it coming.
You're doing it wrong. No, I'm not. You gotta go like this.
I am.
You ready?
Okay, so here we go. Chapter 605. So alright, we're picking up right with So-Oh. And I guess this woman, we still don't know whether this guy is a girl or a dude. We'll see. See soon enough. I think for right now we'll just continue to call her Brienne. Then we see a messenger arriving. So this appears to be more of a flashback right before they started to attack. And we see the messenger coming. Orders from Ousen-sama. The 4th army is to assault the enemy with 1,000 riders to test their abilities. So we see Brienne say, "Shall I?" And So goes, "No, I will." But a whole 1,000 men for a test? That's a number for dealing a substantial blow. Don't get too carried away, Shiryo. Those Roboku soldiers seem to use some strange tactics. I know. Oh yeah, look. With this close-up, it has to be a woman. Look at this. Save some of your energy for tonight. Once we've won, we'll be celebrating in my bed until morning. Oh, damn!
Now pimping ain't easy, but it's necessary. So I'm chasing bitches like Tom chased Jerry.
As you command. Obedience. So I guess, seeing a little bit of her face, looks like she might have a little bit of prettiness to her. But this armor is definitely not doing too much for her figure. Alright, so then we get back to the battle. And we see that Shiryo is pretty beastly. Like, she is taking people out. So it looks like we got another strong woman on the battlefield. Shiryo-sama, deputy, you're too far ahead. A singing blade cries out. Kingdom, chapter 605, Ousen's Insight. Alright, so we see her cutting through people like crazy. Damn it, she can't hear us. We gotta go after her. Yeah, same as always. Alright, so this is nothing new. Look, Kane, a strong one's coming. That big guy in the front, who is he? No, that's a woman. Huh? You can tell from her motions, eh? This isn't looking good. Earl Co's men are. It's fine. They've just been momentarily thrown off by the enemy's might. But to Earl Co's men, or rather, to Roboku-sama's soldiers, it will lose its effectiveness very soon. And we see the Earl and Roboku looking on. So we see some of these Zao soldiers starting to reform and regroup. And as Shiryu comes in, she sees that they have a bunch of shield troops. And she says, "Don't make me laugh." But as she swings on them, it seems like they're able to take the blow. And then it looks like she just, maneuvers down a line to try to find another testing point. And she gets the same results. Ah, interesting. You would attempt to use weakness against me. But it's not as easy as simply making your body go limp. Let a single seed of bloodlust or fear enter your heart, and you tense up, becoming easy prey. Are you telling me that in my presence, you will not feel even the slightest hint of fear? Ooh. And it looks like she's like releasing this aura. But as she attacks, they still seem to be able to fall back. So this weakness tactic is working out pretty good.
No! 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 Oh shit!
These are no run-of-the-mill soldiers. They must have been put through incredible training to become like this. General, for some reason the deputy stopped. What? We see Solo. As he looks, he's like, if she's stuck, then tell her to come back. Staying stretched out like this is risky even for her. Yes, sir. But before Solo's orders could even arrive, Roboku's soldiers already began trying to split the Chin in two. Nah, from both sides? When did they? Not good. They're trying to separate us. Okay, so Roboku soldiers are doing their job. Send 50 men to help them. Yes, sir. Let's go. We gotta bail out the deputy. Saving her? That's rare. Brace yourselves. There's something ahead. Ah, enemy soldiers have... And then we see everybody's looking shocked. So, oh, what? Sir, our 50 men were intercepted by 50 Zao cavalry. It's fine. We'll handle them. Tell them to keep going. Yes, sir. What was that just now? I mean, listen, Roboku's on point. You can't just pull no random stuff on him, man. So now we're seeing Denrimi. General, the Kuba unit is down to half. Your orders. The Sambi unit as well. The Riku unit is also requesting orders. Denrimi-sama. Denrimi's looking pretty intense right now. Has Denrimi-sama been driven to a point where he doesn't know what to do? It can't be. And we see Denrimi thinking, regardless of what tactic I attempt, big or small, nothing seems to work. If anything, they keep coming back to hurt us instead. Granted, the enemy soldiers seem to have a comprehensive grasp of tactics, but would it explain this much of a difference? No, there's still some other reason. I can still vaguely sense that something is off. What on earth is it? Alright. So Denrimi's like done. The next page we're seeing Ousen here. So O and his men who went in seem to have stopped making any progress. Never mind him, the Denrimi army is losing everywhere. And we see Ousen just arms folded, just taking it all in. Oh! He goes, oh. So that's how it is. Eh? So back over to Denrimi. Sir, please give an order at this rate. General. And then Denrimi says, first, get So-O and his men out of there. He's in danger too. Yes, sir. Then have all our troops disengage from the enemy and fall back slightly. Trying to go toe-to-toe with the Zao right now will only cost us more casualties. Time may be of the essence, but keeping this up is simply throwing our men's lives away. We have to significantly change our approach and locate the enemy's weakness. Alright, this seems pretty smart on Denrimi's part. And then we see, what's that noise? As everybody's turning around in shock, we see So and his group turning around also. And even the Zhao are beginning to look on in confusion. Seeing the Earl. What is it? Kane, that is Denrimi-sama. Even seeing Raboku. And then we see Raboku saying, entering the stage already. Ousen, and we see Ousen leading troops onto the battlefield. This is actually a shocker. I was doubting it, but are we actually going to get to see Ousen and Raboku actually face off? Like, for real, for real? Look, it's the 10,000 men of Ousen-sama's core army. What? Not only that, Ousen-sama is leading from the front. If we find out here that Ousen isn't just all like brains, but he's also might, that is going to be incredible, man.
Let's see. You're going down, bitch. You are going down.
And then we see So, haha, this is a surprise. Move out, hoo-ah! They sent out 10,000 too. Okay, so we see the Earl's army coming at the Ousen army. It's 10,000 against 10,000. They're about to clash. Ah, look. Sal's already assuming formations. Then we see over at Kane. Ousen's core army. And Ousen is leading the advance himself. Wahaha. So the big boss himself has come out to play so soon. But sadly for you, Ousen, Earl Rise soldiers also serve directly under Raboku-sama. All the stuff Earl Kozemen can do, they can do. In other words, so long as you don't solve the mystery behind Raboku-sama's tactics, there is no hope of you winning. And how could you solve it? Something like that has already surpassed our realm of tactics and strategy. Ousen-sama. In what manner will you begin? Perhaps the crane wing you're so fond of? It doesn't matter what formation or what tactic you use. There is nothing that can defeat Raboku-sama's tactics. But then we see everybody's faces looking shocked, so I'm sure Ousen's about to do something crazy. What in the world? They aren't spreading out. Are they staying like that? They're moving towards the enemy without assuming any battle formation at all. Ousen-sama. Uh-oh. And then Raboku looks shook. And Ousen's looking dead at him. So we'll see what happens here. But it looks to me as if Ousen has finally figured out what Raboku is up to. Alright. And that was the chapter in a nutshell.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Alright, let's see what Ousen does in chapter 606 of Kingdom. And this one's called Origin. And we just see his mask laying here on the table. Are we going to see Ousen's face this chapter? Nah, not happening. But hopefully we might get to see him fight or do something like that, right? You see, General Ousen's plowing on ahead without changing formation. What's going on? They're almost on top of the enemy, and they've already finished their formations. What is Ousen-sama thinking? And we see Oso and Denrimi looking on. What is the meaning of this? Is he confident that he still has enough time to finish deploying? Or is he seriously just going to march into them like that? And we see Denrimi's getting an idea. No, the soldier steps are slowing down. There has to be something to it. We see Kane saying they've slowed down. They must be up to something. And Fute thinks, huh, very interesting, Ousen. Now why don't you show us just what you can pull out of your hat from there? Kane, do they still have time to do anything? The first ranks are almost about to clash. Wow, I mean, they're like right on them. Here they come. And then we see So, but they really are just engaging them like that. And everybody's in shock. But the only one who seems to suspect something is actually Raboku, as he says, Ousen. And then we see Denrimi say, This is utterly foolhardy. Roboku's army is capable of some strange tactic that can assure dominance on all fronts. Even Ousen-sama's soldiers stand no chance if it's a straightforward engagement like that. It looks pretty even to me the way these guys are going at it. And Denrimi and everybody else is starting to notice. What the? An even exchange. How? Why are Roboku's men not utilizing their tactics? They've been pulling off complex maneuvers non-stop, but now they're reacting in such a simple manner. And this is Denrimi thinking. And what's with Ousen's soldiers? They're just sending out the next man when the one in front falls. Something as basic as this would be defeated by any ordinary army. But for whatever reason, right now the exchange is dead even. And everybody, oh, and as Denrimi and So have been thinking about it, they're both all of a sudden able to figure it out, it looks like. Then he's saying, could it be that it's because they're not doing anything that the result's dead even? Oh man, Ousen is something else, man. The best way to beat it is just to not do anything at all, huh? And we see over to Zal, the commanders are looking a little frustrated. Taigo, this. Alright, and over at the Earl, I can hardly believe it. Ousen has managed to discern the nature of Roboku-sama's tactic in such a short span of time. Then over at So, could that really be the reason why? Roboku's army has always been reacting to our movements. When I sent out those 50... Oh my gosh, I just got it, I think. It's like a mirror. So they mirror whatever you do. So if Ousen's throwing them the basics, they have to mirror basics? Is that it? When I sent out those 50 riders earlier, they immediately countered with 50 of their own. That was no lucky fluke. No, hang on. Even then, wouldn't that reaction have been way too fast? To have 50 cavalry in position to intercept ours the moment they left our ranks is too fast, no matter how you think about it. It's almost as if, then we're seeing over back at Ousen, the origin is what you said, sir. Aye. And what might that entail? And then Ousen like stretches out his hands. When a man wishes to grab something, he moves his hand. But just before that, at almost the same time, the shoulder moves. Going even further, the hips react first. With every action in the body, there is an origin. Jeez, these guys are thinking on a whole nother level. And the workings of armies is no exception. And everybody's like, huh? Those who reach the pinnacle of martial arts are able to detect these and read an opponent's movements. With that knowledge, no technique of the enemy can find purchase, while also enabling you to prepare devastating counters. And now everybody's like just looking at Ousen shocked. What? Then does that mean that Roboku's men have been... Wait, but for an army to move like a human body is... Granted, reading such a thing in a battle between armies is not something you can discern through logic and reasoning. However, the annals of history have ever been rife with individuals who can sense it in the clamor of combat. What? They can tell just from looking at the expressions on enemy soldiers' faces, or from how a formation has been laid out. And as the guys are like, do you mean I? The instinctual type commanders. Wait. Ah! Are they saying Roboku's instinctual? Oh my goodness. And you know what? Nah. Hold on. Let's read this. No, let's read this. It can't be true. Wait. The instinctual type? Or is like, are they making like their entire army instinctual? The instinctual type. But was Roboku not supposed to be the strategical type of general? Then how can he... 5 years ago, during the Coalition War, he had the chance to cross swords with one. With Dukyo, the very embodiment of what it means to be an instinctual type. Did we see the Duke? Man who is missed in Kingdom. But even so, huh? Does that mean yes? It means exactly that. From that single encounter, Roboku was able to deconstruct and decipher the mechanisms of how instinctual types wage war. He then proceeded to hammer that knowledge into the strategical type soldiers under his command. Emerging from that crucible was a new hybrid army, one that combined the strengths of both the strategical and instinctual. Wow. See? So he has an instinctual army, dude. What? And everybody's like, what? I must give him due credit. Just like himself, Roboku is truly a monster. Alright. Wow, this is ridiculous, man. Jeez. So back over to the outside, we're seeing the Earl. As their army holds no intent, there is nothing to be read. Due to that, both sides are practically walking into enemy spears. So of course the result is dead even. Their lack of tactics and formation leaves them vulnerable like a hapless child. We simply need to exploit that with our own tactics. Have both wings engage them. Okay, alright. So if they do that though, then So-Oh and Denrimi should be able to like head them off with regular tactics, right? Alright. Have both wings engage them. Second and third companies charge too. Yes, sir. Alright, and then we see Denrimi, So-Oh, Fute, Kane all looking shocked. Earl Rise going on the offensive. They were already in good position because of their formations. Now all of it is going to come crashing down at the same time. We see the Earl's armies trying to attack from the sides. The spread out enemies have begun to attack. The left as well. Both wings are coming. But our whole army can only deal with the one straight ahead. Ousen-sama, your orders for the left wing. And then we see back over at So. This is bad. Very bad. Ousen-sama's decision to do nothing may have gotten him this far. But it's also left him vulnerable to any sort of conventional tactic. Their right wing is shifting. They've made a wedge. Same for the left. Oh. Him and his hoe. Oh, I see. And he's like smiling, it looks like a little bit. Orders from Ousen-sama. He says to aim for the middle of their flank. Their what? He said you can separate them with 100 riders. Orders from Ousen-sama. The third is not to resist the enemy's charge. Push inside them instead. What? Recall the first and have them hit their center. So as all that's happening, we see Roboku looking on. Orders from Ousen-sama. Teiya and Shinko units are to pincer the enemy. Pincer them? He says it'll happen. Orders from Ousen-sama. Heavy infantry, turn around. Hit their cavalry's flank when they come in. Eh? Jeez, it's like a complete setup. Everybody is just like mind blown right now. We see it from Roboku, Denrimi, So-Oh, the Earl. Both Earls, actually. And they're just like, what? That's not possible. Oh man, the Ousen hype train is just going to be in full effect after this week, isn't it?
Did he make it?
The Ousen army is winning. We see Roboku. Ousen, you read and countered it? Well, well. When viewed in that manner, origins become surprisingly clear. Wait a second. Well, well. When viewed in that manner, origins become surprisingly clear. No, are you telling me? Wait a second. Are you telling me that Ousen just learned? Are you telling me that Ousen just learned this on the spot?
Bingo.
What? Hold on. This is just crazy. That was a great chapter of Kingdom, guys.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, so I'm really excited to read this chapter. Been hearing pretty good things. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Chapter came out like almost 12 hours ago. I had so much to do. Got off of work late. It sucks being an adult. Kids never grow up.
Some people will ask, do I actually use the diapers? And yes, I use the diapers.
But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started, right? All right, so we're standing on the battlefield with Ousen and Roboku. All right, we see everybody going at it. It looks like the Chin had the upper hand. Earl Rai, Kaku unit is asking for aid. Sen is also being pushed back. General, we've lost Ko-sama. Koken-sama too. So we see Earl Rai getting all the reports and thinking about it. The tables have turned. Now it's us who taste defeat after defeat. There is no origin to be found. Yet if we switch to conventional tactics, we are continuously bested by their counters. Never would I have imagined it would unfold like this. And we see him actually kind of looking toward Roboku. While I refuse to believe that he could be better than Roboku-sama, it cannot be denied that he may stand shoulder to shoulder with him. Whoo! What a statement! What a statement! Then we see curse you, Ousen, and those dangerous eyes are just glaring at us. And over at Ousen, we're seeing Ousen surrounded by his troops. And this is chapter 607. The Commander's Conversation. And then we're seeing Ousen receiving reports. Ryuta's company has scattered their opponents. The enemy center has been cracked open. The 3rd and the 7th have also broken through all resistance and are driving deep inside.
Right now I'm stuck in a branch and I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I'm just hanging from a branch.
What I'm gonna do?
I want the little dumb kid to take his shirt off. That doesn't sound right. That's not what I meant.
At this rate, we can expect to slay half their number. Then we see Ousen, and then his eyes appear widened. Tell them to disengage immediately. Yes, sir. We'll wipe them out in this... Huh? Turn the men towards the left. The left? To where the Denrimi army is? But what of our current opponents? Then Ousen says, if we move, they are sure to follow. Yes, sir. But isn't that a risky... We'll save ourselves the hassle. Gather them all up and deal with them all in one fell swoop, Ousen says. And we see the men marching. This decision would catch his enemies. And we're seeing the Earl, Fute, Kane. His allies. Then we're seeing Denrimi and So-Oh. And even Roboku completely off guard. Wow. Trying to figure out what's going on here. No one could have predicted this. And we're seeing the map of what's going on the battlefield. Despite being engaged with Earl Rai's men, Ousen's army began to force their way west to link up with Denrimi's army, who were in the midst of their own battle. This move was so out of the blue that it was enough to leave everyone absolutely dumbstruck. The first to react after this was So-Oh. Haha, how interesting. Call over the rest of my army waiting in the rear. Yes, sir. Without being prompted, So-Oh plunged the rest of his men into the fighting, creating even more chaos on the field. Sir, So-Oh has... Fu. Then back over to Zhao. Fute, what the hell is going on? I can't see any hint of formation or tactics. The hell am I meant to know, says Fute. What a mess. Have you abandoned tactics in your hastiness, Ousen? Throwing away all semblance of logic like this is nothing more than gambling with your men's lives. This is actually Roboku talking. No, this is no gamble. Ousen, you, and he's actually like read whatever Ousen's trying to do, it seems like. Okay, so then we're back over with Denrimi, and we're seeing one of the soldiers say, sir, and he says, we will await orders from Ousen-sama. And he's thinking, this may seem like utter chaos, but to Ousen-sama, it is not chaotic at all. And then back over at Ousen, 3rd and 4th, form up squares and move to the right. Yes, sir. 6th and 8th, link up together and create a wall to the front. Yes, sir. Have Ryuta's company assume the center to the left shield. Yes, sir. So Ousen's barking out the orders. Sir, orders from Ousen-sama. He wants you to make the center of the crane. Understood. Then over to So. Sir, Ousen-sama says to form the crane's left wing. There it is. Get Shiryu back. Let's do this. Okay, so they're starting to go into this crane formation that Fute alluded to earlier. And we see the Earl looking on. What is this? What are they playing at? And Roboku. They're assuming positions. In the midst of a chaotic melee, while fending off our soldiers' blows, they're creating some sort of formation. To achieve that despite being in the thick of the fighting yourself is no mean feat at all. Formation of the Great Red Crane. Alright. So on the next page, everybody's looking shook. All the Zal guys are looking shook. And they're like, what? How could? Impossible. And even Roboku's eyes are just like wide open. And then we see So-Oh. Nice. Now all that's left is for Ousen-sama to take his position at the back and the formation will be complete. Okay. On the other hand, the Zal forces remain a disorderly mess. Then we see Denrimi. This is a huge advantage that we currently hold over them. And then we see Ousen actually in the center. And now everybody's even more confused. Huh? Is that Ousen? He apparently just put himself right out there. It can't be. Must be a fake. Do we just take him out, Kane? Yeah. What is this? Is this some sort of trap? Denrimi-sama, is this also some kind of tactic? I have no idea. Get ready to rescue him at a moment's notice. Alright, sir, this is... Be prepared to jump out at any second, Shiryu. Boom. And we see Roboku and Ousen are both in the center. Are they trying to have a duel here? This can't be a duel. Roboku-sama! Everybody's like shocked. Roboku's in the mix. Ousen's in the mix. What? That's Roboku. What in the world is happening? What was this chapter called? General's Conversations or something like that? Let's see what they're conversating about, right? So everybody's still shook. Kane, quiet. Be ready to move at any time. What is going on? The supreme commanders of two opposing armies in such a large-scale battle are now having a face-to-face conversation in the middle of combat. We see Ousen and Roboku just grilling each other down, and the stares just get even more intense. This is our first meeting, is it not, Ousen? Roboku starts. I am impressed that you showed yourself, Ousen says. I thought perhaps you wished to speak with me. Okay. And they are like on that. What's Ousen gonna do? Like invite him to join his crew? You know how Ousen likes to try to recruit people. Ousen, I know that your men have not left to sustain themselves except the fire in their bellies. To maintain this course of action will result in only two possible fates, dying by our sword or by your own hunger. Surrender. Do that and I will guarantee your men's lives. The moment that you set foot past Retsubi and entered Inner Zal without a sustainable supply line, your defeat was already set in stone. And then Ousen says, is that supposed to be a joke? I also know that Gyo's food stores are no more. And I guess Roboku didn't tell the men because they're all looking like, huh? And that very soon Gyo shall fall into our hands. What? Roboku's eyes. That will not happen. Gyo is the shield that guards Zal's throat. If we lose Gyo, then yes, Zal may begin to topple just as you wish to see. However, the 160 combined years of our kingdom of Zal's history will not allow that to pass. I assure you, Gyo shall not be an easy morsel for you to swallow, Ousen. Oh my gosh, how trite. The years of a kingdom's history have never been something to save a state from annihilation. Man, all it takes is for a state to be helmed by a pack of imbeciles. That alone is more than enough to bring it to its knees. Zhao's king is pretty bad. And what better words are there than that to describe your current king? Just like I was saying. Had the king of Zhao seen fit to mobilize the mighty armies of Canton to defend you, we would have stood no chance. And yet, we chose to press forward anyway because we expected him to do nothing. Yeah, that's crazy. Ousen even knew that the king would suck, that he would do nothing at all, man. Come on. Ousen's too much, man. And then he says, the only thing that stands between Zhao and ruin is not its years of history, but you, Roboku. Should you be removed from this world, Zhao shall without a doubt instantly collapse. Oh man, does it not feel also empty and meaningless, Roboku? No matter how hard you struggle or risk your lives, your efforts can bear no fruit due to the meddling of those above you. And then Roboku says, I would ask you to speak plainly, Ousen. And Ousen says, I ask if you do not feel that your talents are being squandered in your current position. Okay, and then Kane and Fute are looking on. I knew he was gonna say it! I knew he was gonna say it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it from the start, man. And he says, join me, Roboku. With you and your skills by my side, the two of us can usher in the beginnings of a whole new kingdom, one that shall stand unrivaled in strength over all the rest. And that was the chapter in a nutshell, people. Man, that was good. You guys were right. Alright guys, so that was an outstanding batch of chapters of Kingdom. And there was so much to talk about. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to talk about every little thing, but we'll do our best. Now, right away, even though these chapters seem to focus a little bit more on Ousen, I definitely want to give props to Roboku in these chapters. And I really think back to when Roboku and Eisei were having their talk and Roboku seemed to lose his cool and said you could throw everybody at him, Ousen, Kanki, basically saying that whoever you threw against him, nothing was going to work. We can actually see now that this wasn't Roboku just boasting, he was actually prepared to back it up. Retsubi was a trap, Gyo was impenetrable, even the fact that he came up with an entirely new concept of how his armies could become a new type of hybrid army using his origins tactic. So I definitely have to give it up to Roboku, but man, this Ousen guy. It just seems like no matter what Roboku throws at him, Ousen is always ready. And if he wasn't ready, he can get ready in a matter of minutes. And we saw this firsthand when we saw how quickly Ousen was able to learn the origins tactic that Roboku had came up with. And I talked a lot about this in the First Thoughts video, so I don't want to repeat too much of it. But the gist of the origins tactic is that it is a tactic, but it simulates instinctual warfare. Now, it's not authentic like the blazes that Shin or the Duke see, but it's the closest thing a strategical general is ever going to be able to get towards simulating what instinctual generals are able to do on the battlefield. And believe me, Origins is something I think that only the cream of the crop strategists will be able to do. And after reading the chapters and letting things sink in a little bit, the first person I thought of that Origins would tremendously benefit was actually Ten. Like, we saw how useless she was going up against an instinctual general like Kyun. And I think a lot of people started to question whether she was even useful anymore. So I think this might be a very useful thing for her to learn in the future, and it may help her keep up with an instinctual general a little bit better than she was against Kyun. But I really want to dig into this conversation that Roboku and Ousen had, because besides the shocker at the end, there was one other thing that really stuck out to me in this conversation. And that was when Ousen tells Roboku that he knew that their king would not allow for the elite troops of Canton to join in the battle. And that's important for a couple of reasons, because as tight as this war has been, I've looked back personally quite a few times thinking, man, like, had Roboku gotten those troops, this war would be over. And knowing the type of general Ousen is, it seemed really risky for him to try and take Gyo without taking those soldiers into account. But after we find out that King Tojo had no intentions of allowing those soldiers to participate in this battle, what appeared to be Ousen stepping out of character and taking risks was actually no risk at all. Which actually leads you to an even more deeper question. How in the world could Ousen have been so sure? And my number one guess is that Ousen has ridiculous intel. I believe Ousen has information coming to him from all different types of sources, but for this instance in particular, I think this information was actually leaked, and I think it was actually leaked from the king's own court. And the person I suspect most of being the leak is Kakukai. And the reason is because he also has connections with Ryofui. But I think I'll talk more about that stuff in another video. But getting back to this conversation between Riboku and Ousen. Something else I found more interesting than the actual conversation was that Ousen was willing to throw out his advantageous position, where he pretty much had the Zao right where he wanted them, to then go on and proceed to do one of the most complicated formations we've ever seen someone do, while actually engaged with the enemy, where I'm sure countless soldiers died, all so that he can have an audience with Riboku. To me, that right there was just crazy enough. But things got even crazier when you find out that he did all of this so that he could ask Riboku to join him in building his own kingdom. Now, after this bombshell dropped, I noticed there was a lot of division about whether these are Ousen's true motives and whether he really does want to build his own kingdom. And I'm sorry guys, but I gotta take a firm stance on this one, right or wrong. I think that Ousen is dead ass serious. No joke, I believe that he really wants to have his own kingdom. I've seen a lot of theories about he could be possibly setting Riboku up, or that he's actually really loyal, he just uses this as like a little bit of a cover. I'm sorry guys, I just ain't buying it. The only thing I'm close to believing is that maybe Ousen started out this way, wanting to have a kingdom, but now has had a change of heart, maybe due to something his wife said to him before she died, and that maybe now he plays off of his old reputation. But other than that, man, I think Ousen really wants to be king. I mean, this is why he wasn't a 6th grade general back in the day, and it's also why he's never been trusted with this type of responsibility before. And the first time he gets it, what's he do? To me, it's obvious that the people who are going to have to change Ousen's heart are going to wind up being Ohan or Issei, or maybe a combination of both. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was Issei, because he would have one of those talks with Ousen, like the type of talk that he had with Ryofui back in the day, where it just like shook him to his core. And I think after that type of experience, Ousen would be down with the team. Because I mean, when you look at it, this is the most we ever heard from Ousen, like this entire series. And I mean, the man has valid gripes. What it really looks like is that he's just pissed off with upper management. But I think once he realizes just how different Issei is, that's something that can possibly help him to change his ways in the future. So when it comes to Riboku, guys, obviously I think he's going to say no. And if you didn't see my thoughts on this, check out my first thoughts video for this chapter. But I mainly think he says no because of his loyalty not to this current king, but to the brighter future that he sees coming with Prince Ka. Plus, let's be honest, if he said yes, then the series would probably be ending in the next couple chapters. Because I really don't think there's anyone in the verse who can compete with the super team of Ousen plus Riboku. And one last thing I want to talk about from chapter 605 before we wrap this up is that I really think we're going to get to see Kane in a serious fight. To me, it looks like the fact that Kane pointed out that Shiryo was a woman is hinting that we might get some girl-on-girl action soon. Alright, but that's all I got for those chapters, guys. So now let's move on to the comment of the week. And this week's comment goes out to Twale the Dreadhead. And guys, if you don't know Twale, he's also another YouTuber who does nothing but Kingdom content. I think he's about 20 subscribers away from going over 100, guys. So let's help get him there. But what he has to say is, I'm telling you now, in Ousen we trust. My man has never made a play for the throne, even when Issei had little power and he could have taken out Ryofui. And listen, Twale, I know your stance on Ousen and you made some good points. And I hope you're right, man, but look, I just can't see it. Maybe the reason he's never made a play for the throne is because I don't even think he wants the Chin throne. I think he wants to make a whole new kingdom altogether. And my last and final argument about Ousen wanting to be king that I never hear anybody bring up is I even think his subordinates are in on the scheme. Just go back to chapter 523 and notice what Akko says to Ohan. Whereas most times he's addressed as young master, notice that Akko addresses him as young lord. And even Kanjo takes note of this. Lord is a title specifically used for royalty, and I remember talking about that a little bit in my 523 review, and man, it took this long for us to finally get a payoff. But anyway guys, that about does it for this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comment section below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.